All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be touching on the Monday night showdown picks here for the Seattle Seahawks versus the New York Giants. Now, guys, I did just get done recording the props video, and right off the bat, this is going to be kind of a more difficult slate. And that could be a good thing because it's going to be, I guess, less appealing. And so if you hit the right lineup combo, I would say less people are going to be likely to be on that. That's maybe the good news. The bad news is I don't like the slate. So we'll work our way through it, but it's probably not going to be one I'm attacking too much. We will see. Let's go ahead and get into the game preview courtesy of ODDSJAM. If you guys want access to this tool, it's an amazing tool. If you guys are someone that bets on games over and under spreads, make sure you're making the best decision possible. This is a good investment for someone that does that. We can see the board updating live right now as I'm recording this. But looking at this, I feel like this is such a fishy line. And once again, I was recording that props video and I came to the conclusion that the only reason why the Giants are only favored to lose by 1.5 points is because they've had so much time off from Thursday to Monday. A lot more time to prepare, maybe get healthy, rest up. It's kind of like the reverse Green Bay Packers, I guess, if you will, where I was like, this line's kind of weird because I see them losing by a touchdown simply because it's a short week, young team. Matt LaFleur not going to be prepared to game plan, which is what we saw happen. It kind of feels like the reverse of that. And so maybe the Giants players are a little bit better plays. And this is a pretty high over and under for this game. Like, I am shocked that this is that high. So let's go ahead and just take a peek at the injury situation. Really, for the Giants, we're looking at Saquon Barkley being doubtful. Okay, that's the biggest news there. For Seattle, though, we got Noah Fant and Will Dissly currently questionable. If those two sit, that might actually open up a little bit of tight end value. And I say little because it's not like those two are playing that many snaps. We actually saw Cody Parkinson play 70% of the snaps last week. So if Noah Fant and Will Dissly sit, we might just be looking at him. And so let's just go ahead and start out with those Seattle Seahawks. So looking at Noah Fant, let's look at the injury news. Listed as questionable for Monday night's game. Really do not have a good indication of if he's going to play or not. If he does play, could be a sneaky play. Don't love it, don't hate it. Will Dissly also currently questionable. If they all three play, none of them are plays we're going out of our way to make. If they all sit, though, I do think we could potentially be looking at Cody Parkinson, just a soft value play on the slate. And then I think it's worth calling out, kind of. Jake Bobo has been someone that has been playing a lot. Had a freaking awesome toe tap touchdown last week against Carolina. For any of you guys that have been following the channel during the preseason, you know we're on them, or on Jake Bobo as a play. He is someone that now is just getting a lot of love by the fantasy community, which I love to see. He actually played 40% of the snaps last week, which was basically the same as Jackson Smith, which I found very interesting. And it's like, do we run into that? Do we not? I don't know. Like last week, I feel like that game against Carolina was never like in question, even though it ended up being a 10-point game. Like, I don't know. Watching it, it always felt like the Seahawks were going to win. And so maybe that's why we started to see Charbonnet get a little bit more work. We saw Jake Bobo get a little bit more work because they just didn't feel the need to have everyone play that many snaps. And so maybe he's a good value play. Maybe he's terrible. Like, I don't feel good about that one. Seahawks D, I do find interesting because they've been terrible. And like the Giants receivers, I'll get into that. The Giants pass catchers should be able to go off and have a good game. At the same time, Daniel Jones has looked bad as well. Obviously, they're without Saquon Barkley. And that does seem like a pretty soft price tag, especially when you look at it from the flex. So maybe you could go with that. Jason Myers, the kicker, those are always just shoulder shrug plays to me. Jackson Smith, I feel like he is priced up now. He has been getting a decent amount of targets, definitely in the first two games. And just at that price tag, I feel like it's just, I don't want to say easy fade, but a play that I'm just not going out of my way to make. Now, this is where I do think it gets interesting. We got Tyler Lockett, someone that has been getting targeted heavily the last two games, 7 and 10. Had one really good game against Detroit. We kind of have come to realize that is just Tyler Lockett as an asset. DK Metcalf is certainly going to be the safer of the two plays. I think I like him the most in this game, so I'm just plugging him in there, but it does feel like a little bit of a toss-up. If you guys remember last Monday Night Football, the biggest issue that we had was that we had a lot of 1A, 1B situations for the receivers. That's kind of how it is with those two. Like, it does feel like we need to be playing one or the other a little bit, and who's to say which one it's going to be. Like, it feels like a toss-up every week. Looking at Geno Smith, I feel like we're going to have some salary left over, and so we can pay up for his 15 or so points that I think he's going to score, kind of like what he had against Carolina. I'm fine with that. I do want to say he is due for some more touchdowns because Kenneth Walker he's expected to have some touchdown regression, okay? Against Detroit, he had a bunch of short goal line carries. Against Carolina, it's an easy team. had 2 touchdowns against them. So he's not going to be as productive against them. I feel like his price is a little bit inflated because of that as well. He might not be as high owned though, because people are going to look at the snap share and be like, ooh, it's happening. Zach Charbonnet, he's happening. And maybe they're right. I don't know. I think DJ Dallas has looked pretty decent as well. So that's kind of my way of saying, yeah, I still think Kenneth Walker's going to be the guy. I mean, look at the opportunities. They have still been there as well. Is he maybe priced up a little bit too much? Yes. Can you still fit him into your builds? I think so. And let's talk about why. Let's get into the Giants. So the Giants, and I want to start with the value as well. Wan'Dale Robinson, I think, is going to see more snaps in this game. And if he does, he becomes a much more appealing play. Last week, he played in 21% of the snaps after returning from that injury. And this is nothing new because they did that last year with him, which maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. Like, they just threw him into the fire. Now, he didn't play as many snaps, only 21%, but he got a lot of work. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 6.1 DraftKings point. Now, he was very cheap for us. That was kind of a nice find on that slate as well. $3,000 seems to be a little bit too cheap as well. Like, I feel like his snaps are going to continue to go up. We saw Paris Campbell's snap go down in favor of that, and maybe he just takes over for that role, or maybe it's more of a 50-50 split in this week. I feel like it's going to be tough for them to get Jalen Hyatt snaps as well because of that. So yes, I feel like he is kind of an easier play. Worth calling out when we look at the snaps there. Daniel Bellinger, their backup tight end, played a lot, 60% of the snaps that game and 60% in week 1. He is at the min price. So if you guys are needing to find a min price player because you like the rest of your build, he would be a good option for that. That's the only way I'm going to be ending up on him, though. So I did mention I thought Gary Brightwell looked really good. I was actually really shocked at the snap distribution that Brightwell was that outsnapped by Matt Breida, because if you're watching that game, it felt like it was kind of the Brightwell show, at least running back wise, because look how uninvolved Breida was. Like, he was not involved at all. Sure, he got kind of a lucky touchdown. I would say they're better off giving Brightwell the work at the goal line as well. And so if you are playing a Giants running back, it's riskier, but I think I would still want to go Brightwell. Receiver-wise, I still find it strange that we're getting Darius Slayton at a very cheap price tag. He's been playing 80% of the snaps. This is supposed to be a really good matchup going against the Seattle Seahawks. We look at the DVP, whether we're looking at quarterbacks, like this has 4 games in it. And if we look at Chargers have struggled, that game's going on right now as I'm recording this. And then it's the Seahawks. Like, that is crazy. We look at it on a points per game basis. Now this is to quarterbacks. They've given up a lot of points. If we want to look at receivers, we can. Same thing, second most points given up to opposing receivers. So yes, this is a matchup that we want to be targeting the receivers in. And if it is easier, like San Francisco, a little bit more difficult of a matchup. Cardinals have actually been pretty good against the pass as well. Like, not a pushover, and Dallas is pretty good. Like, this is going to be their easiest matchup thus far. We look at Denver, we look at Chicago. They both had really good games throwing the football because, well, it was their easiest matchup of the season thus far. That should be the case with someone like Darius Slayton, and he just feels too cheap. Heck, he could be someone that you're putting into the captain spot as well. Kind of risk reward there. I think we can still probably fit DK in there if we choose to do so. So then from there, it's really deciding, do we want to play Daniel Jones? I would say probably. It's ugly. He's looked bad. We need him to rush the football, but it doesn't feel right, but it feels correct. It feels like the correct decision. It feels gross. I should put it that way, but he does feel like the correct move. And look at this. We have so much salary left over. Darren Waller still going to get targeted heavily. He needs to have a good game. Can't have the 2 drops. Can't have Daniel Jones playing poorly. I would say those kind of went hand in hand. Darren Waller had a bad game and like a bad drop because Daniel Jones was terrible. Daniel Jones might have been terrible because, well, he still doesn't have anyone to throw it to. But I don't want to load up on too many Giants players. I would say maybe a 4-2 split is probably the way to go. But let's look at this. We can easily fit DK in there in the captain spot. We can easily fit Tyler Lockett. Like, this is a very solid build that we have there. The question is, do we really want to go an even split? Vegas says that we do. So I'm okay with this build for now. That is going to be all for this video, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. Let's have a good slate. If you guys want to access any of the NFL DFS tools, prop tools, head on over to 95sports.com. It is available for just $10 a month. Let's have a good slate. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing. Oh, thanks for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.